Yep, that's me. But don't get it twisted. This is the climax of the story. The final firework. To understand why this moment hit me so hard, we gotta rewind. Let's go back 48 hours earlier. Back to the start of a road trip that tested patience, sparked reflection, and reminded me the journey never stops. Not even at 50. This is the story of how we got from Philly to Miami, of Frenchie stops, earned skins, stolen sunsets, and how turning 50 reminded me what it means to live like a heathen. This is how to heathen. 25 hours in a car will teach you things you didn't know you needed to learn. Like just how many times a 3-year-old Frenchie named Rocky can demand a bathroom break without a shred of shame. Every gas station and rest stop on the East Coast became a sacred site of release for our little dude. And in between the pit stops and playlists, something started to happen. The road slowed us down. Not in the annoying traffic jam kind of way, but in that rare, sacred way where you're really reminded that the journey actually is the point. The highway became a mirror, long, reflective, sometimes a little cracked. You start off racing to the destination, but somewhere around South Carolina, you realize the conversations, the snacks, the road games, even the silence, well, they're all part of the ritual of the road trip. What hit me hardest was the rhythm of stopping, not just for rock, but for life. We're always in such a rush to get there, wherever the fuck there is. But sometimes it takes a French bulldog with a full bladder to force you to be in the moment. I've spent years chasing goals, running from pain, building, breaking, and rebuilding. But in that car, it was just chasing. Riding with my Hopi, my dog, and my thoughts. The miles peeled layers back. I laughed. I cursed. I remembered who I was at 30. I imagined who I'm going to be at 70. And I realized maybe the real rite of passage into 50 isn't some big party or a profound ritual. Maybe it's letting go of control long enough to enjoy the ride. And occasionally pulling over to let the dog take a piss. Rolled into Miami like two warriors and a Frenchie fresh off the battlefield. Burnt out, road worn, ready to feel human again. South Beach hit us like a wave of color. Neon signs, deep blue skies, and heat so real it felt like the sun wanted to square up and shoot the one. We passed A1A Avenue and yeah, I said it out loud. A1A, Beachfront Avenue. You know. And suddenly the Bronx and the Philly grime, the long-ass highway behind us, well, all of it melted under that Florida sun. Hope was glowing. Rocky was wide-eyed at the scent of seagulls and sea foam and being in a car for so long. And I was just trying to keep my Philly pale skin from spontaneously combusting into flames. SPF 50, man, I sprayed that on like it was war paint. We threw ourselves into that morning, literally. Seaweed wrapped around my leg like Nord had beef, and I let out a Bronx-flavored curse that made Hope double over laughing. Still, there was peace and something sacred in the mess. I had my camera out playing with the light, catching moments, trying to see better. Not just frame the shot, but frame this life I'm building. That's the thing about turning 50. Doesn't mean you're done growing. It means you know you're not done. Wisdom isn't a crown, it's a compass. I wasn't there to flex or stunt. I was there to unbind, to soften, to soak in something bigger. And that gorgeous stretch of sand, that was the first real breath after a long-ass road. And I let it fill me like the tide fills the bays. From the moment we met Captain David, not Dave, not D, Captain David, I knew this wasn't going to be an average boat ride. The rendezvous spot was the Coconut Grove Sailing Club, but finding the boat felt like navigating the heavy level in a video game. We had to wait here, check in there, then climb into a tiny water taxi like we're being smuggled into the venture. The Bronx boy and me kept one eyebrow raised, like, yo, if this ends with us getting robbed, at least it's got some pretty good views. But once we boarded that trampoline catamaran and I saw the open water in the bay, stretching out in every direction, I looked at Opie and I said, this is gonna be epic. Sure as shit it was. We sailed out over Biscayne Bay, carving through the water at about 15 to 20 knots, which may not sound wild until you're bouncing on a net just a few feet above the ocean. The air was electric, boat leaned with purpose, and every worry in the world was floating on those same winds powering this vessel. Eventually, we reached this low-key sandbar just in the middle of the bay like a divine rest stop. We dropped anchor, tied up the catamaran, passed around snacks, had some cold drinks, and laid into the moment. I grabbed my camera and I tried to catch what I was feeling. Light dancing on the water, hope silhouetted against the skyline. It wasn't just a picnic. This was an unbelievable memory. A moment suspended, salt, sand, and sun. The kind of pause you don't realize you need, well, until you're in it. When it was time to head back, Captain David gave us a small nod and said, "We're going downhill now." I was like, "Going water downhill? What the fuck are you talking about?" But he meant it in a way only like a sailor can. The wind and the waves, they were with us. They were behind us. They were not something we had to fight. We were riding them. And let me tell you, that return trip, it felt like I was flying. And hope actually did. The sails caught power we couldn't see. And suddenly we were cutting through the bay like a blade. The boat tilted to the right, the spray kissed our faces, and I could feel it. It was like Nord himself whispered to me, "You made it through the choppy stuff. Now ride this out." And then, that sunset. Soul, she clocked in for her finest performance yet. She bathed the entire bay in golden fire, then bled into purples and soft blues that turned the sky into like a watercolor canvas. I've seen a lot of sunsets in my 50 years, but that one hit hard. I hugged Hope close and the whole world just paused. Felt it deep, the gratitude, the clarity, the weight of time without the heaviness. Man, we were sailing on energy older than names, powered by wind, spirit, something that felt a lot like memories from a past life. As we docked, swapped back into the water taxi, and left that floating altar behind, I knew the best way to thank the gods for a moment like that, well, was to just live it to its fullest. We ended my 50th birthday with dinner at a spot called Miami, which, according to the host at the door, is basically how you say Miami with a Cuban accent if you've had 3 mojitos and a reason to celebrate. Inside, it was upscale, but not pretentious. The first thing we ordered off the menu, Kobe meatballs, it melted in your mouth. The braised brisket fell apart like it had been waiting its whole life to be eaten. And then what was supposed to be the showstopper, a hot stone ribeye platter. Now look, I love steak. We're paying $80 to cook it myself. That's some next level DIY gourmet hustle. I joked with Hopi that we should have at least let me wear a chef's Coca-Cola pop-up restaurant. Still standing there, flipping that meat, when there was no sizzle in the rock, because they sent us out a cold stone. But this became something more than dinner. It was especially when the fire eater came out. This scantily clad, tall, long-legged brunette stepped into the center of the restaurant and made flames dance like she was born from them. And in that moment, something clicked in my chest. Fire wasn't just a parlor trick. It was a reminder, simple. This was my fire. The one Odin stoked in me when I made my oath. I'm not just here to laugh and age. I'm here to tell stories, to carry the sagas, to prove that Norse paganism in today's world isn't a relic or a cosplay. It's a living, spiritual, breathing path. Sacred fire we need every damn day. After dinner, we took a stroll through South Beach, letting the night air and neon soften the edges of the feast. That's when we found it. On a tucked away wall, I spotted out of the corner of my eye a burner from Tracy 168, a real OG from the graffiti world. And I smiled deep. I had the honor of chilling with that legend a few times back in the day. And once I even white-walled the burner for him. Let me take an old wall, buffing it completely white, and setting the stage for the next masterpiece. It was like cleaning the wall for a god, a graph god. Standing there with Hopi by my side, I felt the Bronx whisper back to me. That wild, gritty boy who used to tag walls, skate every day until he was bloody and dream of more. I thought about this spiraled road, the pain, the progress, the peace. And I realized that 50 isn't the end of anything. It's just another whiteboard, fresh space, a new chapter. And I still got stories to burn into every inch of the brick. The last night of the trip wasn't about flashy lights or fire shows. It was about stillness, reflection, gratitude, and a really good Cuban sandwich. We sat for a while just taking in the Florida night air. Kind of carries salt, memories, and something else you can't name. I found myself saying silent thanks to the gods, the land that's here, the ancestors, especially home. When we walked this long road beside me, they see me stumble, rise, break, rebuild, and I still keep walking. And on this night, I wasn't asking them for anything, just thanking them for the lesson, the survival. The fire that never really quite went out of me. This trip reminded me why I started this path, and why I'll never leave. Make no mistake, American Heathen isn't just a documentary I want to make. It's a love letter, a tribute to this modern movement and the powerful everyday people who live it. It's my way of showing the world that our gods still speak, our rituals still matter, and this path is alive, it's vibrant, raw, deep roots. And if I'm being honest, I spent a lot of the first half of my life holding myself back from fear, from pain, for thinking I didn't deserve to burn as brightly as I wanted to. Something shifted on this trip. Might have been the ocean, maybe the fire eater, maybe turning 50, or that slamming flan. Whatever it was, I feel it now. It's like a storm about to roll in, not to destroy, but to cleanse. I don't know what the next half of my time on Midgard holds, but for the first time in a long time, I'm fucking ready. Whatever's coming, I'll meet it head on. This newly gifted hammer on my chest, the God's in my heart, and the story's still left to tell. If you made it this far, thank you. This wasn't just a birthday trip. This was a chapter, a reminder that the gods still walk with us. Even when the road is 24 hours long and it smells like Frenchie farts. Remember, sunsets can still stop time. Fire eaters and graffiti burners can speak to the soul just as much as a rune stone or a horn of meat. This is How the Heathen, and I'm Jason Savage. Born in the Bronx, now building a life of faith, fire, and purpose. In Philadelphia with hope, a dog Rocky, and a pet that saved my life. And if this story hit you, if it lit something up inside you, do me a favor, like, comment, and subscribe. Share this video with someone who needs a spark. And if you haven't picked up your copy of the Modern Harbor yet, it's available now. A collection of real-world ancient wisdom for this modern path. Link is in the description of the video. We're just getting started. American Heathen is on the horizon, and so is something bigger than all of us. Till next time, stay fucking savage.